Hey, what's going on? It's Shawn here. So have you ever gone into a bookstore, or maybe you've gone online to buy a Bible? Yeah, it's a little overwhelming. There are so many different options. As a matter of fact, there's roughly 50 major versions of the Bible in the English language alone. That's a lot. I mean, how does one even choose which one to read? Well, this video is not really to help you choose which one to read because I can't make that decision. That's really up to you. But I want to help answer the question as to why. Why is there so many different versions of the English Bible? Whenever I was growing up, if my parents looked at me and said, "Shawn, go get the Switch," you're probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Uh-oh, I messed up. I did something wrong. But today, if I tell my kid, "Hey, go get the Switch," that's not at all what they're thinking. They're thinking of a video game, a Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I mean, language is constantly changing. Some words don't mean the same thing that they used to. So as our language evolves, sometimes the words that were originally translated into the English language, they just don't mean the same thing. And so it changes the actual meaning of that verse. So that's one reason why we have so many different Bible versions. These Bible publishers are just trying to combat this ever-changing language that is the English language. And the last thing I want to talk about is how different versions have a different purpose. We kind of split this up into three main categories. The first one being word-for-word translations. That's like your King James, your New King James, where they take word by word from the original text and they try to pick the most accurate translation of that word into the English language. And then you have your phrase by phrase or thought by thought translations, which is kind of like your New Living Translation, which is what I use for student ministry because it's about readability. How can we best convey this thought in the English language that's easiest for the average person to understand? And then you have your third category, which is like your paraphrase, like the Message Bible, where they're not going word for word, they're not necessarily going thought by thought, they're going kind of like big idea to big idea. And this is kind of like the translator's interpretation of what this big idea is. And so when it comes to picking which one you're going to read, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that is accurate word for word, you're going for King James, New King James, that type of thing. If you're looking for something that keeps the message, keeps the same idea, but is a little bit easier to understand and read, then you're looking for something like New Living and NIV. And if you're looking for something that's just really outside the box and gets you really thinking, then you're kind of looking for a paraphrase. And if you're anything like me, whenever I'm studying for a sermon or anything like that, I kind of got all three on my desk and I'm looking at every single one of them, but you definitely don't have to do that. And if you'd like to learn more about where each version kind of lands on the spectrum from word to paraphrase, there's a great resource on our website, orangebeachumc.org, at our Bible resource page that kind of shows you where all the major versions kind of land on that spectrum. It's a great resource and maybe it'll help you figure out which version you should check out. So I hope this has been helpful and I hope that it helps you dive a little bit deeper into God's Word. Thanks for listening. Peace.